Hi, I'm Brittany Koshera, and I'm the Community Marketing Manager at Miro, and I'm here with Ayman, who has had a lengthy career in product management and leadership, and is also a lecturer at the world-renowned business school, INSEAD, where he has been integrating Miro into his teaching. Thanks for being here, Ayman.
Thanks a lot, Brittany, for having me. I'm excited to chat to you guys about it.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So I want to just jump right in. Can you tell me a little bit about your work at INSEAD and what courses you've been teaching?
Yeah, sure. So my work with INSEAD is basically we've done a product management course in February, March last year as a first experiment to getting the school to integrate more product management courses in their curriculum. And we basically spent around a year and a half trying to talk to different people in the school. And finally, we formed an amazing team with Professor Emmanuel Sosa and another partner, alum of ours. And the three of us basically decided to try to push forward this agenda of getting more product thinking into the school. And the first experiment was the course that we did in February, March. And that's kind of that's the beginning of the journey. And I think going forward, we'll probably be giving this course every year. And we're hoping to expand kind of the courses around that topic, hopefully with the school in future semesters.
And just to follow up on that, your first course, how many students did you have?
So the first, we have an overbooked course really. Normally the MBA classroom size is around 40, 50. I think we had probably oversubscribed more than 45 people doing the course, and we had a waiting list, so we had to like pick a few people to join. But we had a full classroom, which was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're going to get into what's happening right now. So what was it like to teach during COVID-19? And how did you end up bringing Miro into your classroom?
Yeah, COVID-19 was obviously it's a tragedy, right? It's a very sad story of what's happened. But I think from an education experience, it was like, I would say it was uncomfortably exciting. I think we all saw this thing starting to pan out when we started the course, and we always had in the back of our minds, we need to have a plan B if something happens, if the school shuts down the campus, people are not able to travel to come to campus. We needed to think about other plans to do that. So we always knew we had roughly like a plan B. And I think once it happened, obviously it was a bit nuts because it happened really quickly. So everything was working normally. We were teaching in a digital garage on campus. Everyone was there, 45 people in the room moving around. And then I remember it was towards the end of one of these weeks, probably like a Thursday or Friday, that we heard the school made, the risk appetite for the school wasn't okay anymore. Like there was spikes in Singapore where we were teaching the course in terms of COVID cases. And then the school decided, next week everything goes online, that's it. So we had a very short period of time to turn around things really quickly, which was, again, I think it was a bit like uncomfortably exciting in that it was scary a bit, but at the same time, we had a gut feeling that if we're trying to make this thing more digital, we can actually amplify the experience because the subject matter was conducive to having to use tools online and get people, comfortable a bit with new ways of working using technology.
Yeah. And how did you bring Miro into that? Was Miro your first choice, or?
Yeah, I think out of the three of us building the course, I was probably like the more techie person just because of my background in product management. And for me, I always knew that if something were to happen, like I need to go back to a tool that I use, that I love, that I know how to work. And also for the students, I think it was the main criteria for getting a tool to get the students to play with was like something that they can get used to really quickly, and something that's very visual, something that's very intuitive, and something that's also fun and playful. And I think it was hard for me to find other tools that I knew of at the time. And because I knew it, and I knew that it was easy for people to onboard and get used to really quickly, and I've seen its power before in trying to facilitate conversations with cross-functional teams, I could really see it work in my mind. And then it was, once I convinced Emmanuel and Monisha and that, they were fully on board. They had seen it as well, and they're like, "Well, this is amazing. We think this can work." And that was it. We didn't have a lot of time to go and scope out things, so we had to find the best thing out there that we know could work, and that was how we decided on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you actually go into how you actually use Miro in that virtual classroom. Can
Yeah,
you share any
yeah.
of your boards?
Let me share one of the many boards that we used. Um, are you guys able to see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this was two boards that were merged in one. I mean, I'll walk you through some of the things that we use. I think for the first session when we got everyone online, and you need to remember the context in students' mind here is basically over a weekend everything changed in their lives, right? Some people had traveled to
Yeah.
Singapore to meet others, and suddenly they find themselves stuck with one or two other people and in dormitories and other rooms. So when we try to build the first session online, we knew that we wanted to just slowly get people to play around with, and this was a really funny exercise. So basically the first 10 minutes of that course, we're like, all right guys, like we're gonna do an exercise, but before we do the exercise, can you just like start playing with the tool? And we created a sort of a playground. We added a bit of a frame here, and we told them, this is a playground. All the yellow kind of spaces for you to create shapes, try to play around with text, try to draw something, use all these different tools on the side. And as much as you can, just be playful for 10 minutes. And it was amazing and super funny to see how people started, within not even 30 seconds, within 15 seconds, you have people started drawing things. I don't know where they found these photos, like, using shapes, adding videos. You can also see the feeling of the students at the time, thinking about COVID,
Yeah.
what's going to happen. So it's super interesting. And I think it's worth mentioning, it was really a bit of an aha moment for us, with the three of us in the team giving the lectures, because we were looking at people and like, wow, people are, even though they look a bit sad on Zoom, people were really active doing things, and there's a lot of feeling of a good energy for those first 10 minutes. So I think that was the first kind of bit which I found was really interesting, and you can see how people felt through it as well. And then as we got into the course, what we basically try to do is, so this was a physical game that we had designed for people to play in the digital garage. And the idea is we wanted to get people to experience building things together in a team environment with imperfect information. So when we try to move it online, we try to recreate that experience. And we've had two activities done. So you can see here on the left side is the first part of the class. And we asked people in each team, and every kind of row here is a team. We created their own space. We gave them a bit of instruction. We used a bit of text kind of objects to add the different phases of what they need to do. We put a bit of notes for every team, and we told them, guys, like, try to build something. And obviously there's a lot of details about what we wanted them to build, but ultimately they were just building widgets, and they were doing it in their own breakout rooms over Zoom. So they did that first part of the exercise, and it was very interesting for us because, me, Manuel, Monisha, we could actually for once see all the classroom in one go. If you were doing this physically, we had to be moving around in the classroom, and we couldn't be able to gauge if teams are working well or not. But when you were looking at it digitally, you can actually see all the different interactions, 45 people moving things around, which is very interesting to see. And you can see, yeah, so that was the first part of the exercise. Brittany, you wanted to say something?
Oh, I'm just, yeah, I agree with you. Being able
Mm-hmm.
to see your students kind of all doing it. I was imagining in person you having to go around, and this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like that aha moment of like, yeah, you can see everybody. That's pretty
Exactly. I
cool.
mean,
Yeah.
the way I think about it is, imagine every row was a team, but if this was physically like that, those three kind of buckets or frames where we had them to do certain things, they were there. Their tables in the digital garage. We had a space where every team had a table and a whiteboard, but we had to recreate that. So physically, you can also try quickly and intuitively understand, who's doing what and where. So that was the first part, and people built a lot of interesting stuff according to the constraints that we built them. And then we paused for a bit, we did a bit of a debrief, and then we told them, all right guys, now we need to redo the same thing, but then we're going to introduce a bit of different constraints. And we had a bit of kind of changes introduced throughout the process. And when people started working in the second part of the exercise, you can see automatically the speed of work was really amazing. You can already see people creating a lot more widgets, being much more creative with what widgets they're doing. They were using a lot of these shortcuts. I noticed some teams were just mass producing widgets, and they had sort of a pipeline kind of workflow going on. So they'd mass produce things, use shortcuts, and then other people in their team were coloring things. People got really creative, really. Like, it was very interesting to see how they were using the different shapes. A lot of them intuitively started dropping images from other places. So I think they were using the Miro plugin, the Chrome plugin. So they would just like snapshot things online and then automatically put them here. Because you have to bear in mind, this was around probably like 20 minutes, right? And there's a lot of work done in 20 minutes for people that have never used this tool.
Yeah.
And then
And you
towards
said,
yeah,
I mean, you said that they'd only been using this for the 10 minutes before in that yellow space.
Yeah. So all of this was the first session that we did. So everything from the students trying to play around here on the left side on their playground, coming up with random, gibberish and playfulness, to them doing really structured work in the first iteration in this section here, and then even doing more advanced work. It was impressive to see. It was really fascinating to see the speed at which people adopted this. And then the problem was we couldn't stop them from doing things. We had timers like, guys, stop. We're using the timer functionality at the bottom. It's like, it ended, but then people kept going because they were really having fun. And we thought it was very successful kind of first online session for that course, because a lot of people were skeptical about it, right? And there was there was a bit of negativity with people going to these classrooms expecting to have physical people around them and build connections and work together, but then suddenly like people were stuck. So I think it was a very enjoyable experience. It was really fun.
Yeah, it looks super fun. I'm also just impressed with you and your team and how quickly you were able to just kind of put what happened, what was supposed to happen in a physical space into this digital space so quickly, because like you said, with COVID, no one was expecting this to rock us the way that it did. But it's nice to see, how you're progressing. Do you see in the future, this is how this course will be taught? What are your ideas on that?
Yeah, so I mean, I think one thing that was really very positive, I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, the coursework was a success, by the way. We a very big success because we got the feedback. We do sort of an NPS scoring for courses. And for the first time course, this was really, people really resonated with the content, with the delivery, with everything. And Professor Manuel was really helpful in trying to guide us through this whole thing and really leading us through this. So I think going forward, definitely, I think most probably we're going to be giving this next year. I think the school has now, because we've shown that we can do it this way, I think the school has seen the value of, first of all, the content, and secondly, also the delivery mechanism. The fact that we're able to pull up something online that way opens up a lot of possibilities for the school, because this way you can give the course to people from different campuses, because normally people are split between Singapore and France, and some courses are given here versus there. But this opened up the opportunity to now, like, the entire student body can actually participate in something. And I think the fact that the lecturers as well and the team behind us got used to it, I think that, now they see that actually the tool amplifies the experience rather than, it's not a plan B, right? It's almost like this is how we need to be doing it, because this is more conducive to teaching technology, to teaching, these new ways of working together online in asynchronous mode, and being comfortable with not being in the same room with the people you're working with. So I definitely see more interactive sessions like that online using Miro going forward. Because I think everyone loved it, from the people, the participants, to us doing it. And it really saved our lives in terms of kind of trying to adapt to this new mode of doing things. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so great. Well, Ayman, I want to thank you so much for being here today and taking the time. Yeah, I was like, I think a lot of fellow educators, I'm sure, are going to learn so much from this. And yeah, we just want to say thank you again.
Oh, thank you very much, Brittany, for that. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan. I'm really looking forward to designing kind of future courses with it, with the professor and the team. And yeah, you guys are doing a great job. It's a fantastic tool. It's really fun to use. You can see the value before you even it's one of these tools that the minute you start interacting with it, you get value of it, and the learning curve is really kind of short for it. So it's been great fun.
Thank you.